Welcome to New View Tech Review. My name is David Galey, and today we are reviewing the Galaxy Note 8. The Galaxy Note 8, a phone that some of us thought we'd never see from Samsung after the chaos that the Note 7 left behind. But here it is, alive and well. Is this enough to make up for their big mistake? Let's dig in and find out. While the Note 7 was a big hit amongst Samsung fans, it had the obvious major flaw of its batteries catching fire. Samsung did their best to rectify that mess by reducing the size of the Note 8 battery to 3300 milliamps, down from 3500 in last year's model. And it shows. Battery life is nothing to brag about on this device. However, it does tend to last a bit longer than smaller phones, usually ending the day at around 20 to 30% with moderate usage. This would be more impressive if the default screen resolution out of the box was set to QHD, but it isn't. It comes preset to 1080p, but is something that can later be changed in settings. A nice feature, but if you're not paying attention, you might be tricked into thinking you're getting better battery life out of a massive QHD display than you really are. Speaking of the display, I will say that even with the resolution default being set to 1080p, it still looks incredible. It's crisp, bright, colorful, and beautiful. This is where the Note 8 truly shines, with its massive, nearly bezel-less 6.3-inch 521 ppi Quad HD Super AMOLED Infinity Curved Edge display. Whew! Clearly, this is where Samsung gave the most attention to detail. They even give us an always-on display feature to constantly boast of all its Super AMOLED glory. Viewing photos, videos, or just scrolling down your Facebook feed has never looked so sharp. And with the way the content just melts over the curved edges, it will have you never wanting to go back to any other regular display again. With curved edges, you get fun additions to the UI such as Apps Edge, a quick way to access all your favorite apps with one swipe of a finger. The front and back are both made of Gorilla Glass 5, which has held up very well so far, but its downside, especially with this Midnight Black model, is how easily fingerprints show up all over the device. I find myself wanting to carry around a microfiber cloth just to keep it from getting so dirty. But it's with this glass that we get fast wireless charging, a lovely feature that makes charging incredibly simple. Wireless charging did take longer than its usual Type-C charging, but it still took on more juice wirelessly in 15 minutes than any plugged-in iPhone can in 30 minutes. And as for wired charging, well, it's fast. About as fast as any of us would ever need in any situation. The Note 8 comes with 6GB of RAM and Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 835 CPU. Navigating the UI was consistently smooth for me during my testing, and had very few hiccups, which is always nice to see from an Android phone. As usual, Samsung gives us the option of expandable storage up to 256GB, which for me is completely unnecessary, but it's nice to know that it's there if you need it. Bluetooth 5.0 is present on the Note 8, which allows for the multiple pairing of devices and a longer range of connectivity. Samsung Pay is also available using NFC and MST for wireless and magnetic payments, something that I unfortunately didn't have a chance to test out, but can imagine it working well. As for security, the Note 8 uses a few different biometric sensors to unlock your phone or to use for mobile payments. When testing the iris scanner, I found it to be pretty hit or miss. If you're in good lighting, not wearing a hat or sunglasses, and holding the phone at just the right angle, it's very fast. But if you get any one of those things wrong, you're out of luck, and at that point, it's just far more convenient to use the fingerprint scanner or pattern unlock. Now, with the iris scanner being so inconsistent, that really only leaves you with the fingerprint scanner as far as biometric security goes, which works well and is quick to respond to touch, but is also in a really inconvenient location on the top backside of the phone. But at least it's there if you really like your fingerprint scanners. There's also a facial recognition option, but it's nowhere near as good as the other options or Apple's new Face ID. And as always, the new flagships have the latest and greatest OS versions, this one being Android Nougat 7.1.1. The Note 8 also features a water and dust resistance rating of IP68, which will last about 30 minutes and up to 5 feet of water for all you accident-prone guys and gals. With the Note 8 now being nearly free of all bezels, we trade a physical home button for a software home button. During my review of this phone, I found using the software home button to be mediocre at best. I'll explain. When the home button is pressed, you instantly feel a taptic feedback occur that gives you the sense of pressing a physical home button. Kind of like what Apple did on their most recent models that gives you a uniquely sharp buzz to let you know that you've depressed the home button. But the taptic feedback found here on the Note 8 seems to be sluggish and not properly placed. The vibration occurs towards the top of the phone, while the home button remains at the bottom of the device. And to me, it feels strange and makes the phone feel kind of hollow. It's really something that you have to test out for yourself to truly understand its lack of quality. This is something that Apple definitely got right on their first try, and hopefully Samsung will take a few notes from them on this one. Pun intended. The Note 8 comes in weighing at a comfortable 6.9 ounces and fits nicely in one hand, but when reaching for the top of the display, That's where things get a little frustrating. The phone is tall, really, really tall, and just feels awkward when using it. Kind of like this.
Hey babe, can you add trash bags to the list, please?
Yeah, 1 second. All right, trash bags. Oh, hold on, getting a call. Hello? Nope. Yeah. All jokes aside, the height does come in handy when jotting down notes with the included S Pen. That's right, the love it or hate it S Pen. Personally, I love the stylus. I used it in the Note 3 regularly and used it just as much with the Note 8. Pulling out the S Pen while the screen is off will give you access to screen off memos, a brilliant way to quickly write down a phone number or add a quick reminder. You also have the ability to screen write, live message, and simply add more notes. A fun little feature that I don't see talked about too often is the S Pen alarm, a handy setting that alerts you if you've left your S Pen behind. If the stylus is something you really don't think you'd use, then I'd highly recommend just getting the S8 or the S8 Plus. It'll save you some cash as well as some space in your pocket. The Note 8 continues Samsung's new trend of implementing the Bixby button on the left side of the device, a dedicated button for a personal assistant that nobody asked for, and you can't remap the button for other functions. Come on Samsung, just stick with Google Assistant. And moving on to cameras, we have dual 12 megapixel cameras on the back, both with OIS. You can record 4K video or bump it down in the settings to 720p to record at 240 frames per second for slow motion shots. The front-facing camera comes in at 8 megapixels, and it has a wide lens for all your really important selfies that you need to take throughout the day. And for those of you who are curious to see some test footage, here's a brief sample of the video quality using the back camera on default settings. And here's a quick sample of the front-facing video quality. Both look great, and either camera would work perfectly for vloggers. And as for photos, just take a look. Rich colors, great contrast, and great low light shots just to top it off. There's not a whole lot more that you could ask for in a camera. And with a double click of the power button, you're well on your way to taking some great photos. And last but not least, audio, one of my favorite things to test on any smartphone. Let me first say thank you to Samsung for keeping the headphone jack present on this device. And to pair that with the included AKG headphones makes this phone great for any audio enthusiast. Seriously guys, these are some of the best EQ'd headphones that you will get with any smartphone. Now pair those AKGs with a phone that has a DAC, such as the HTC 10 or LG V20, and you're in for a treat. As for audio that the phone records while shooting video, here's a quick sample. This is New View Tech Review, and I'm doing an audio test on the Galaxy Note 8. I am outside of my house right now, just doing an audio test, trying my best to not cover up any microphone sensors. There were a lot of cicadas and construction noise going on in the background, but overall it seems to pick up some good bass and mid-levels, but really puts an emphasis on the highs, as you can tell with the cicadas screaming in the background. The bottom firing external speaker comes in pretty loud at about 89 decibels at max volume, as compared to about 82 with my HTC 10 at max volume. As for EQ output, the Note 8 tends to focus more on the mids and highs as compared to the HTC 10, which has a more balanced EQ. Here's some quick side-by-side samples for comparison. Overall, this phone does and is exactly what it sets out to be. It's powerful, incredibly big, and has a lot to offer. Now, is this a worthy successor to the Note 7? Sure, but I believe that Samsung could have come back a bit stronger with a shorter phone and better external speakers that can't be blocked with a single finger. And until those few things are changed, I'll probably hold off on going back to the Note series. Also, fingerprints. Those nasty, nasty fingerprints. Samsung, you have to invent a coating for your phones that doesn't show fingerprints. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. That's all I have for you today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Galaxy Note 8. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.